Oh my, here we are, ready to rock and roll for another day here. Arch City now. Glad you're with us on a Tuesday morning. All right, it's going to be a beautiful day. Yes, we love it when you get those beautiful days. Technically, still not winter, still fall. Obviously, feels like winter. You think about winter when it's December 9th. So glad you're with us. We'll get into a bunch of things as we do. St. Louis, all St. Louis all the time. Producer Rye is here. I'm Vic Faust, breathing a little heavy because I sprinted in from the bathroom. I was like, how much time do we have, Rye? 44 seconds, Vic. I'm like, uh-oh. Let's get it on. We're here until 8 o'clock. All things St. Louis all the time. Anything else that's going on. Yesterday was a heavy sports day. Today got a lot of news stories. It seems to be the pattern these days when it comes to everything that's happening. If you guys want to jump in on the show, we love it as always. Like, subscribe, share the show. Get involved. We always appreciate it. Always when you guys come in and be a part of it. Share the show. Let me turn down my volume from that standpoint. We're here till 8 o'clock. And then, of course, Hot Take Central 2.0 follows us each day from 8 to 10 o'clock. You've got the Jennifer Bordeaux show from 10 to 11 today. And then from 11 to 1, it's Charlie Tuna and his posse. And then, of course, there's all kinds of things that are happening. If you guys have a story, promotion, we love charity, love the positive stories. That's what we try to do, get everybody up and going when it comes to this area. And we've got those going on. Okay. A lot of fallout from sports stuff yesterday. College football, Mizzou, Notre Dame, things that were going on. Last night wasn't a real big sports night, locally or nationally, kind of a break, except you did have Monday Night Football and the NFL. And not quite sure what you guys thought about that. What happened to last year's champs, the Philadelphia Eagles? They don't look like anything close to the team that they used to be, but that can happen in the NFL. The Chargers, on the other hand, winning. The last thing the Kansas City Chiefs wanted to see last night was the Chargers winning, and the Chargers did. And that kind of put another nail in that playoff coffin for the Kansas City Chiefs. That's right. It happens. Okay. So also, when it comes to tonight, though, the Blues back home. They've been gone for a while. They were on a 3-game road trip. They come back home tonight, go back out on the road Thursday to Nashville, and then come back home for a Friday skate. So those are good things, fun times, those things happening when it comes to everything that's going on this week. Okay. I also will get into, well, like I said, there's just a lot of news stories that are going on. There's also a clause, very interesting, some more details coming out with how much money the University of Missouri is paying Eli Drinkwitz as a head football coach. It's a lot of money. A lot. Well, we know the money, over $60 million over 6 years, but what ignites, what kickstarts an extra year onto his contract if he gets to a certain point in time? Talk about some job security, big time job security for Eli and his staff to stay in Mizzou and Columbia. So, you know what? More power to them. Those things go on. Those things happen. Also tonight, the Blues back at home. As I was talking about, they will be skating with the Bruins. 7 p.m. game time. Can the Blues make it 3 in a row? And who will get the start in net? I haven't seen that. If you guys did, you can feel free to jump in and let us know. I just didn't get a chance to see that. But anyway, December 9th on this Tuesday. Anything else that we need to be talking about, let us know. Anything else that we missed, let us know. And we are just grateful for you guys coming in, as we do all the time. Okay, some of the stories that we're working on today, or we'll be talking about. You can jump in. Monday Night Football from last night. SLU Soccer Thursday night, the Final Four. The Red Cross right now is looking for donations. It always seems to drop during the winter months, but they specifically need a couple different types of blood, O negative, B negative. Plus, we'll give you updates on where they are with that. When it comes to the weather today, excuse me for yawning as we wake up. I should have been awake already. The high is supposed to be 53 today and sunny. Considering the weather that we've had, that may feel like a spring day. So get out and enjoy that. Former St. Louis City prosecutor Kim Gardner has a hearing today. She could lose her law license if anybody was keeping tabs with that for some of the things that happened when she was the prosecutor of St. Louis City. We'd like to do the positives. We also cover the stories that are making news, and there are a lot of vacant buildings in St. Louis City, and they've cost the city a whole lot of money with different issues. We'll break that story down. What's happening? How about a positive story? An O'Fallon woman from Illinois getting a chance to decorate the White House with her company. So that's got to be pretty cool, especially if it means something to you. We'll tell you about her and her business and what's happening. A St. Louis area college student also being recognized after going through the EF3 tornado that hit the second week of May in the St. Louis area. You've also got a new indoor playground hitting Rock Hill for adults and kids. I thought that was interesting. You've also got a downtown chief of Greater St. Louis leaving. That's another position that's important when it comes to redeveloping the city and giving us an idea of where we are and what we look like. Those things are there for you as well. So if you want to jump in on anything else, we appreciate it. Always love the interaction on the show. As a matter of fact, we crave it. We come in here because of you guys and anything else that's going from that standpoint. So those are stories that we have going on today. We were talking about the Blues tonight, as a matter of fact. Anything else happening, let us know. And of course, we cover those stories. I guess we'll start with this thing here. Last night in the NFL, you've got the the LA Chargers now are looking like a legitimate team too. And it's like, okay, are they going to be a for real team in the playoffs? They may be. But the Eagles are the team that's surprising me right now. They win the Super Bowl, and right now they don't even look close to the team, not even close to the team that they were last year, which is very interesting. Also, you've just got to find a way to see what they're going to do. Here's the other thing that's interesting right now with the NFL. The Colts, who the Chiefs need to lose, like all of their remaining games, lost their starting quarterback, Daniel Jones, who had been playing as one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL. He ruptures his Achilles tendon on Sunday. Their backup, Riley Leonard, who played at Notre Dame last year in the national championship game, has a hurt knee. It's tough to work with him. So they're giving a former quarterback, Phillip Rivers, who's 44 years old, recently became a grandfather, a potential return to the NFL. They're bringing him in today to see what he could still possibly do because they've got to get somebody. They've got a good team. They were on pace to have one of the better offenses in NFL history. They were prolific for a while. Now, Rivers would be considered for a practice squad position. The rookie Leonard, who took over for Jones after he suffered the Achilles injury on Tuesday, is considered the team starter moving forward. But he's dealing with a knee injury that could leave a guy named Brett Rippon as the team's only healthy option heading into Week 15 against a very, very good Seattle Seahawks team and a very good defense. So you're talking about a 44-year-old that could be there as a backup. And it's like, okay, 44, why not? If you can do it, why not? More power to you to enjoy that. All right. Have fun with that. You go on, do that. Um, I don't know. There's just a lot of very interesting stories in the NFL. Who's going to actually be there in the playoffs, what the scripts have, those sorts of things. By the way, I saw a report that betting, wagering, gambling in the state of Missouri is off to a flying start after it became legal on December 1st to wager in the state of Missouri. Have you guys done any? Have you at least signed up? Have you seen the money that they're offering? I have heard people talking about it. And just like when marijuana became legal in the state recreationally, Missouri became a huge state. Now, when it came to wagering, Missouri's becoming a huge state. Whether you agree or disagree with that, it is happening. And there was an interesting game on Sunday with the Raiders and Broncos that had a lot of attention put onto it because of the founder of Barstool Sports, Dave Portnoy. He's become a super popular figure in the sports industry for betting, gaming, pizza challenges, social media, his Michigan love, putting a lot of NIL money out there. Literally was calling for the murder of and jail time for for the Raiders coach, Pete Carroll, because of thinking that he was in cahoots with Vegas to change a line the way the game was going to end. Just be careful if you are putting money down and understand. It just seems the house always wins. They'll find a way to win. Now, maybe there's a way smartly, more intelligently, more responsibly you can do things. But when it comes to gambling, there's a reason why there's so many, and I repeat, so many services, and it seems as if they're all doing pretty darn well. Seriously, like really doing well. And you're like, okay, why is this happening? Well, it's happening right now. So anyway, that's one of those things that is happening when it comes to the sports and when it comes to the situations there. By the way, we'll see what's happening with this Cardinals team from winter meetings. Nothing has happened yet when it comes to the team, when it comes to the Cardinals or announcements. But I did find it interesting. Today, you can actually buy season tickets for the Cardinals for next year. Is there an appetite for Cardinals baseball right now? I don't know. I just don't know if there's an appetite out there right now for the Cardinals. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm right. But something tells me those sales will not be so great today, or probably lower than in years past at this point in time, considering what's happening with this team. We all know, at least right now, there's not really anything that's getting extra, at least brought through. So, yeah. We'll see how that all plays in to what's going on. This is Arch City Now. I'm Vic Faust, producer Rise alongside as well. We're here till 8 o'clock today. Jump on in with X, Facebook, YouTube. We try to get St. Louis up and going at it in the mornings from 6 to 8 a.m. Getting you up early, getting up, enjoying the day. It's going to be a nice day. I can tell you this much. It was not as cold this morning walking outside. You could feel the difference, which is always nice. Because if you're used to getting up in the mornings and it's freaking cold as heck, when you get a day that isn't as bad, you're like, okay, I like this. I can feel this. And those situations can play into it as well. So if you want to jump in on the phone, you can do that as well. You're always welcome to give us a call. The phone number there, 855-282-8255. Once again, 855-282-8255. We are your Lou Information Station. We are always live and on demand at louinfo.com. You can check out all the programming that we have, not only today, but throughout the week. And if you have ideas for interviews, We'd love to check in with you and talk about those as well. Always here for you to talk about whatever and whenever the things you want to get in. Okay. Once again, another update. SLU Soccer Thursday night, Final Four, NC State. That's a big, big hype machine that's happening right now. We're grateful that we have the Billikens playing as well as they are. And, of course, we'll be covering that throughout the week and then coming into the game on Thursday night as they play for a chance at the national championship game, which I believe is Saturday. I believe that would be scheduled for Saturday. Billikens would have to get through their situation on Thursday, obviously, first, with another solid NC State team, but anything's possible for this team at this point in time, considering what they have already done. So the Billikens off and running, and we wish them the best from that standpoint. Okay, also, when we're starting this first block off, Mizzou basketball gets back to action Thursday night. They will host Alabama State. SLU men's basketball with a game on Saturday. That's when, excuse me, they get back to action. Also, when we were finishing out some of the sports block in this segment, I did see this was interesting. I thought it was interesting. Some more details are coming out about Mizzou football coach Eli Drinkwitz and his contract. And we have reached a point in time. And once again, Eli Drinkwitz has been good for Mizzou. He has not been great. We've talked about the stats over and over again. He is yet to beat a team in the SEC that finished the regular season with an over 500 record. But he is also yet to lose to a team with a record that's 500 or below. So he's doing what he's supposed to do, but he's just not doing any more. No upsets. No upsets against, no upsets for. Some call it status quo. Some go, hey, we're making the jump slowly but surely, gaining a foundation to be able to move forward. So here's one of the things that is in his contract. He has a new 6-year, about $10 million a year deal, just over $10 million a year. So Eli's doing just fine when it comes to the money. But he gets an automatic 1-year extension to his contract every time his football team wins 8 games moving forward. So if Mizzou wins 8 games, which they have done the last 3 straight years, he gets an extra year added onto his contract with that money. That's pretty damn nice. It's pretty 8 wins and you get an extra year. Some would say, well, Missouri's setting the standard for just being good. All right, well, they're good. They're not great. 8 wins isn't a situation that's getting you to the playoff anytime soon. Do you want to just be above average? Some people will say. Others say, well, it's establishing consistency. But other coaches who have appeared to accomplish more than Eli Drinkwitz appear. Like Texas A&M's Mike Elko, the contract that he signed in November of 2023, 2 years ago. He's got an interesting situation as well. Okay, so they don't show, please. Okay, they're not showing what he had, but Dan Lanning at Oregon, he has to have 10 regular season wins, and then he has an extra year added on to his contract. Lane Kiffin, when he was at Ole Miss, 7 regular season wins, and then he would get an extra year. How about Kenny Dillingham down at Arizona State? Only 6 regular season wins, and he would get an extra year on his contract. So the 8-win threshold isn't all that low when you compare it to other contracts that are out there. It's just interesting when we look at what we see so far. I got time to get this in here. The Heisman candidates were announced. And you've got Fernando Mendoza, quarterback from Indiana. Julian Sayin, quarterback from Ohio State. Both have had outstanding years. The Magic Man, Diego Pavia from Vanderbilt. And of course, we, quote, love our St. Louis athletes, entertainers, comedians, business people, whatever. Jeremiah Love from Notre Dame. Just a few years ago, Jeremiah was leading CBC to a state football championship. Before that, he was tearing up the gridiron for the Jennings Little League football team. And now, for Notre Dame, he will be a Heisman finalist. Congratulations to Jeremiah. I can only imagine his dad. I can only imagine how proud dad is when it comes to what's going on there, how good they are of a family. And of course, Jeremiah Love having an outstanding football season with Notre Dame. I think he's the best all around running back in the country. When I say all around, I mean runner and pass catcher. The best runner in America is also a Missouri Tide guy. That is Ahmad Hardy at the University of Missouri. He's your best pure running back. And the video shows it, no questions about it. Jeremiah isn't far behind, in my humble opinion, of just, quote, running the ball. But when you combine running and pass catching, a la Jamar Gibbs with the Detroit Lions, who I feel is the best all-around back in the NFL at pass catching and running, Jeremiah Love is 2.0. No doubt about it, in my opinion. And he is going to make an NFL team very happy. So we'll see where he lines up when it comes to New York and the Heisman and where he can finish. He's an outside dark horse. He really is, because right now your odds on end to win is Fernando Mendoza, because he is the story headline, the massive win. They're still playing for a national title. And a lot of times individual awards are about team awards. They just are. That's a fact. But much love to Jeremiah Love and another St. Louisan who's getting hype. Speaking of St. Louisans getting hype too, producer Rye, there were a couple writers yesterday giving Brady Cook credit for what he was able to do with the Jets on Sunday. Obviously, expectations are low, but give Cook some time. Let Brady cook, taking us back to that situation from Mizzou. And it appears as if Brady Cook is the starter moving forward. And Brady's going to get a chance to solidify himself a little bit more. Now, hopefully, his receivers can catch the ball when he throws it to them. Such a typical Jets thing. Stupid mistakes, beat yourself. And of course, they did on Sunday. It wasn't the whole reason they lost, but they could have been a whole lot better. So we can talk more about Jeremiah. We can talk about the St. Louis guys doing their thing. But we appreciate you guys jumping in, of course, as always. We're off and running this morning. If you guys have stories, interviews, anything that you want to jump in and talk about, let us know. You can always call us as we talk about 855-282-8255. You can also go to Arch City Now on X, Facebook, and YouTube. Join the conversations. Of course, we love it when we can communicate with you guys as well. All right, we are your Lou information station. We are live and on demand at louinfo.com. We'll take a quick break. We'll come back with some of those news headlines of the day here on Arch City Now.
luinfo.com.
Hey guys, welcome back into the show. We appreciate you being with us here this morning. It is 6:36 on a Tuesday. It's going to be a beautiful day, at least beautiful for December 9th. Highs, mid 50s maybe. 54, 55 for December 9th. Not too shabby there. Should have some sun as well. Feel like a spring day if you're not careful, considering the temperatures that we had, considering some of the weather that we had. So we're looking forward to that, that's for sure. If anything else is going on today, let us know. If you have plans, maybe get outside, enjoy. Who knows if you can get outside, enjoy some of the sunshine. Sunshine is good for the body, and it is good for the soul. Producer Rise here. I'm Vic Faust. This is Art City Now. We're here till 8 o'clock today. Hot Take Central 2.0 with the former Blue. Cam Jansen follows us from 8 to 10 o'clock today with Cardinals broadcaster Jim the Cat Hayes. Jennifer Bardot's business show follows that from 10 to 11. And then it's Charlie Tune and the Posse from 11 to 1 o'clock today as well. Hey, by the way, we are your Lou Information Station. We're always live and on demand at luinfo.com. You can check out all the programming that we have each day and through the weekend as well. And if you ever want to call, you can do that too. 855-282-8255. And as always, you can catch us on X, Facebook, and YouTube at Arch City Now. Tonight, the Blues back at Enterprise, looking to get their first 3-game winning streak of the season. That would be nice. And when you look at where this team is and what they've done, a lot of it starts with their defense, which means goaltending. I would not have an issue if Joel Hofer's in net tonight. Why not? Ride the hot hand. I would go Joel Hofer. I'm fine with Joel Hofer being in net tonight. Totally fine with him against Boston tonight and then seeing where he's going. He was one of the worst goalies in the league to start the season out. He fixed what the issue was, and now he looks like one of the best goalies. Jordan Binnington, he's playing well. This isn't always his time of year. We know that. Jordan knows when to show up. And he does, and he always does. That's why I hope he remains a Blue. So get Hofer in net. Let's see. Let's get a 3-game win streak going. Because, hell, if the Detroit Red Wings can be leading their division, their team with the team that they have compared to the Blues should be a whole lot better. And I think they will be. But that's certainly something to be looking forward to tonight and for the rest of the season. But we've got a good team here. They just got to get that stuff going. By the way, when I was talking about weather, we're talking 20 degrees higher today than the seasonal averages. It'll be short-lived because another cold front comes through Wednesday morning, but let's enjoy it while we can today. And when we talk about what's headed for Wednesday in making plans and thinking about things, if you have to be outside for work or whatever, yeah, Wednesday is supposed to be blustery with wind gusts of 30 to 40 miles per hour and wind chills between 10 and 15 degrees. Yeah, the warmest temperatures were going to occur in the morning, and then we're going to gradually fall back into the 30s throughout the day, eventually into the 20s overnight and into Thursday morning. So we appreciate the weather when we get it, and we're supposed to have some really good weather today. If you get a day here and there, enjoy it. Do whatever you can. From that standpoint. Okay, some of the other news headlines in the St. Louis area. We try to keep it positive. We love to focus on those positive stories, the uplifting stories, people helping one another. We've had a couple days of that, but we also do the news headline stories. Former St. Louis Circuit Attorney Kim Gardner is going to face a disciplinary panel today, and she could lose her law license. If you remember, she did serve as St. Louis's top prosecutor from 17 to 23. Now, what's at stake here? She's accused of violating federal and state law during her time in office. She did admit to using public money to reimburse herself for a $5,000 fine that she had. But, and maybe even more concerning than that, and that's pretty bad, was she was attending nursing classes during work hours while serving as St. Louis Circuit Attorney. Obviously, she resigned following an incident involving an armed robbery suspect who remained free despite violating his probation dozens of times. That suspect, as you may remember, in just a horrific story, was later convicted of a car crash that took the legs of Janae Edmondson, young girl who was here just visiting, part of a sports tournament. So Kim Gardner hearing today about possibly losing her law license if she had plans for a future. I don't know. We'll see. I was talking to an attorney who's been following that story for a while. He thinks it's going to happen. So we'll be following that to see where it's going. Something else that's happening in the city right now. We've all seen the vacant buildings, and different cities have different ideas of how to attack the issue and attack the problem. Well, St. Louis has spent millions on vacant buildings and fire response during the winter, and that can play a role. But according to a story that Fox 2 did, according to the St. Louis Vacancy Collaborative, the city has roughly 9,000 vacant properties, or at least did last year. And it spent $21 million on issues related to vacant buildings, including $1.6 million, which went right to the fire department. That's insane. You think of all the money that's being lost on vacant buildings, $21 million, 1.9 or 1.5 just on fires or fire calls. So what else does it include? Well, it includes mowing, boarding buildings, stabilizing them. And you know what it does when you really break it down? It's pulling resources out of other city plans. It's taking resources away from other development. And also, according to the St. Louis Vacancy Collaborative, an estimated $310 million in unrealized wealth is also tied to how vacant buildings drag down surrounding property values. So in St. Louis County, fire officials are now dealing with some of those challenges. A single fire alarm can cost about $3,000 an hour to get everything going. The truck, the manpower, all of it. $3,000 an hour. That's a lot, and it adds up. And of course, we know that a lot of these things can happen with vacant buildings. I mean, that's equipment, firefighters, water supply, boarding up buildings, tearing it down. It's expensive. It's a problem. And somehow they've got to find a way to address it because you're just wasting money over and over and over again. So what they are trying to do here, the fire chief believes that the department inspected about 90% of the city's vacant buildings. And they said when smoke's pouring out of it, you might miss little clues. So that's what they're trying to do, is get a little information to see how they can be better for the future. Now, the Vacancy Collaborative also said that the number of vacant buildings in the city has dropped, though, 7%. That's good. That's just in the past 7 years. However, when you really break the numbers down, a new report is expected in the next couple of weeks. And the vacant building figures include damage data from the May 16th tornado. I promise you, if you've driven around North St. Louis, as I have, and some of the western parts, it's not good. It is really bad, and those numbers are going to shift way up. There are more vacancies that are there, and yeah, St. Louis has to figure out how they're going to handle that. You've got to find a way to make sure you know what you're doing to take care of that, because it's not gotten any better. And that tornado absolutely devastated a lot of what we were talking about, a lot of what we saw when it comes to neighborhoods, buildings, commercial buildings, and so forth. And those things have not gotten a lot better. However, when we talk about that tornado, and quite possibly a more positive story, there was a college student in North St. Louis. She went through that EF3 that came through. Her name's Maya Grimes. And what she's got going on is she was caught in the middle of that tornado the night of May 16th. And, she said it was something straight out of a movie. It was a nightmare. Her car was just spinning in circles. She was literally watching it spin in circles. And she was holding on to her windshield and the steering wheel for dear life, praying and screaming, she said. She was just trying to make it. She said that the force of that tornado threw her from her car. She was able to flag down an ambulance and walked away with only cuts and bruises. So now the college senior was chosen as one of 2 fellows through the HBCU Global Impact Program, representing the city of St. Louis and Jackson State University, where she is a student. And they said that the program has now exposed Grimes to a career in insurance and risk management. So she said she was able to take her achievements to the global level and represent and show people what comes out of a great city. So the experience allowed her to connect the dots between natural disaster and the insurance industry. And it's a side industry that I work in. And it can be a tough one if insurance companies are not taking care of St. Louis residents or wherever a catastrophe could happen. Because what happens is right now, and I hope for Maya, and I don't know what side of the situation she'll be on, but she said being exposed to the industry, the insurance industry, allowed her to kind of connect the dots between what happened with the tornado. And she says, quote, like seeing what they do on a day-to-day basis. I was able to meet with underwriters and brokers and see how they handle claims for tragedies and casualties, just like a tornado. So this is pretty interesting. The Missouri Senate recognized Grimes' work by declaring August 9th as Maya Grimes Day. That was back in August. She held a back-to-school bash, serving hundreds of families impacted by the tornado as well. And she said she's going to continue to bring positivity to St. Louis. She has advice for others facing adversity, saying, stay fearless in the face of adversity and keep going, even when it may seem hard. So it's a positive story that came out of that. The other situation is that she has seen when it comes to the insurance and what people have dealt with in St. Louis. And some of my other customers and people that I've talked to and experienced myself, I'm not saying insurance companies are bad. They're not. There are some amazing insurance companies, USAA. But they'll come out, and I don't know how people dealt with this in St. Louis. They'll give you an estimate, but that estimate is rarely ever equal to the amount of damage that a business or family faces. Like 98% of the cases that we have dealt with in a construction company and roofing that I work with, you're not getting what you should. Then you have to apply for supplemental, and it drags the process on. The process can be made a whole lot easier, and I certainly hope that Maya Grimes can help in that, because there are a lot of St. Louis people who are dealing with insurance companies extending time out, even now still waiting for supplements and supplemental insurance to be paid from the May storm. That's right. They'll give you a check for what they think it's worth, but then you have to work with companies that go and battle with these insurance companies, and that's what we do from that standpoint, to make sure that these companies are getting the money that they should get. And you need to be with a company that is an expert in it, at least has expertise and experience, because if you're not, you'll get run through the ringer. I just get sad and frustrated for families who are still waiting to get work done because they can't get all the money that they should be getting. And some of the figures that the insurance companies work on are working with a program that's a few years behind when it comes to updating what actual price costs should be. So you're not allowed to miss insurance payments. You're not. And the companies want their payments on time. But then when it comes to tornadoes and or hail and situations like that, you can really get run through the ringer when you have legitimate claims and damage. And it's unfortunate, and I just wish it could be a little quicker. I'm just glad that Maya is getting a chance to make something positive out of the situation that she went through. I'm sure her family, when the tornado came through, and I pray that she's able to use it for something positive. That's for sure, with everything that she sees coming through. All right, we talk about St. Louis and downtown. Other updates. The senior vice president and chief officer for Greater St. Louis is leaving. Kurt Weigel joined Greater St. Louis, Inc. back in September of 22, and he's stepping down next month. So he's heading back to New Orleans. The quote that Greater St. Louis put out was, Kurt informed us last week of his plan to return home to New Orleans to be closer to his family and establish a consulting firm. Kurt has helped lay the groundwork for the revitalization of downtown St. Louis, and we are grateful for his service over the past 3 years. We know his decision was a difficult one, and we wish him the best moving forward. His departure comes shortly after Greater St. Louis Incorporated named Ron Kitchens as the new chief executive officer. So Greater St. Louis trying to lay that fabric for what's coming in the future. And of course, we like to talk about St. Louis being bigger and better in every situation possible, but you have to have a plan. You have to have the right people working, combined with the amount of money that need to be out there as well. So we'll continue to keep you posted on that. All right. If people get excited about the Powerball, there was no winner last night. You're going to have $1 billion prize again by the next time, probably by the next time they have a drawing. It's already soared to a $930 million. One single ticket from Florida matched 5 numbers to win $1 million. So that was good. The jackpot is still $1 billion below September's historic $1.8 billion jackpot. And of course, we remember what happened there. There was a ticket sold in Spanish Lake, and that was a husband-wife that said, yeah, they were going to probably pay some bills and do some traveling. They split the nearly $2 billion Powerball with a winner out of Texas. And that was the second largest lottery prize in U.S. history. And once again, that went back to just September, and a St. Louis person from Spanish Lake purchased it at a Quick Trip over there. The winning ticket won from that standpoint. So, by the way, Monday's prize represents the cash value annually paid. Let's see here. The lump sum was paying over about $404 million for a win. Yeah, that is going to be tomorrow night, Wednesday, and you're looking at $1 billion. Yeah, with a cash option of $429 million. Okay, the largest was $2.4 billion. That was won by a single ticket in California back in November of 2022. So if you're following the Powerball, that is one of the stories that is going on. And of course, we'll continue to follow that story and let you see what is happening. There is something else that's happening throughout the areas. We continue some of the news stories here on Arch City Now this morning. The Red Cross says they're desperate for some blood this holiday season because they're in an urgent need for blood donations, particularly O negative and B negative. Once again, O negative and B negative. They say that volunteer donors are the only source of blood for those in need. So what they've done for additive incentive is donors in certain time frames this month in December can receive Amazon gift cards as well as some Red Cross t-shirts. So they say to donate, individuals can use the American Red Cross Blood Donor app, or you can just visit redcrossblood.org, redcrossblood.org to sign up, or just call 1-800-RED-CROSS. Once again, 1-800-RED-CROSS. So they said over the past year, nearly 500,000 people donated blood for the very first time, which is good. And they said joining a national community committed to saving lives is unparalleled, but they desperately need people's help when it comes to the blood that they can donate. So Red Cross looking for O negative. Once again, that's O negative and B negative. They have a severe shortage right now of those two blood types. So if you can help out, do so, and they'll be ready and waiting to help take your donation when it comes to those sides. So, yeah, we're all excited about that. That's for sure. Also, an indoor playground is opening for kids and adults in St. Louis. We're talking about a place called Lava Island. It's a $5 million indoor playground opening this weekend. They've already got 7 locations in Colorado, Montana, Arizona, Minnesota, and Connecticut. and they're opening one, or they just opened one in St. Louis. So the facility opened to the public for the first time Friday, 6 to 10 p.m., literally on Manchester Road in the market at McKnight Shopping Center. So they're based out of Colorado, but they're here. It's kind of a tropical themed indoor play center that caters to both children and adults. That was what was surprising to me. It's like, okay, it's for kids and adults. And it's grown from 3 locations to 7 just over the last 6 months, and more locations coming in the works as well. So pretty interesting from my standpoint. The admission cost for children, $16 for an hour or $22 for an all-day pass. And the cost for adults is $8 an hour or $11 for an all-day pass. So after Friday, the normal hours of operation are going to be 9 a.m. to 10 p.m. Friday and Saturday, and 9 to 9 Sunday through Thursday. So we wish them the best here. Lava Island coming in. I'm still not quite sure how it's catering to adults unless they serve, I don't know, alcohol. I don't know how that would work out or what would be the case, but that's what you have going on right now. So we'll continue to follow that, keep it going for you. So anyway, when we come back, we'll take a break. We'll get into that Monday Night Football game from last night. Talk a little bit about Eli Drinkwit's new, very interesting contract, some of the clauses that he has in it that's been released. All right. I'm all for wagering in the state of Missouri. Just understand that if most of the betting public is betting on an NFL team, the chances of that team winning are not going to happen. That's my own independent research, producer Rye. Stay away if all the public money is on one team.
Yeah, and I second that, Vic. Stay away. If everybody's betting on that team, I just want to let you know that team is not winning.
Vegas
sir.
wins. You have to know when to shoot your shot, so to speak.
Yes, sir.
That is not the time to do it. And last night in the NFL, it happened again. It happened again. 72% of the betting public was on one bet, and that bet fell just a little short. Those stories and more coming back after the break. We'll also update Jeremiah Love and his Heisman possibilities, the superstar out of St. Louis and CBC High School. We'll be back. This is Arch City Now. We're on X, Facebook, and YouTube. And, of course, we are your Lou Information Station. We are live and on demand at louinfo.com. Hey guys, welcome into the show on this Tuesday, December 9th. This is Art City Now. I'm Vic Faust, producer Rise alongside as well. We are here Monday through Friday, 6 to 8 a.m., talking all things St. Louis all the time, all the water cooler talk, news headlines, sports headlines, anything and everything. We love to promote the positive at all possible, and of course, the news headlines. I think we should make it a Tuesday, make the Tuesdays an advice day, because my young blood friend is like, man, life happens, Vic. Life is here. Life. Isn't that what you said or something? Life.
That's been my saying since
Life.
since I've been like 16. Life just lifes, man.
Well,
you know,
the only advice I have, and if anybody else has that advice, is things happen and they seem like they're crazy when they're happening, but usually there's the next day, the sun rises.
something good is always going to happen. You know, even if it's bad, you can just work through it and figure it out.
The moment that things happen, it sucks in life. It does. Bad things happen, and we think that there's no way to get past that moment. But somehow it goes by the old saying, and I hate it, but it's true. I hate it, but it's true. It's like, what doesn't kill you makes you stronger. And there's another thing too. It's like, you just try to keep your best, whatever you can do. It's so hard, and it's taking me way decades after you, my friend, and your age. Relationships, even if somebody's not great to you, just trying to keep the relation, just leave it. If somebody can't help you and you can't help them, they've hurt you in some way, you've just got to try. Like, I had something happen to me about 2 weeks ago. I found out about somebody trying to hurt a business of mine, doing something behind my back, somebody I trusted. And I wanted to say something, and I didn't. And I'm just moving forward because it was something that was taken from me, my friend. And I'm just like, okay, I could sit here and make it worse because I've had that. And I think we've all been there at life at certain times where somebody does something and it's how you respond and it's how you react. And if you fail the reaction, you become the bad guy. And it's so hard to just sit there, shut up, bite your tongue. And some of us reach that maturity level at different points in life. I've got a child who had that ability at 12 years old and never lost it. Just, he can sit back and go, okay, whatever. And others where it takes us a lot longer and a lot longer in life.
Probably going to take me till I'm 60.
Well, confess some positivity over yourself that you're going to have it figured out already. So that's the only advice I've ever offered when it comes to those life situations when crap happens. It's like, okay, what is this really going to be? To be able to take a deep breath. Okay, this moment sucks. Is it going to get worse? What is going to take it? Just try to assess the situation. So anyway, I digress, but we're always open for people's advice on life. If they want to jump in, we'll take it and try to move forward. But we do appreciate you guys being with us, as we say, today and every day, Monday through Friday, 6 to 8 a.m. here on Arts City Now. You can also call in 855-282-8255. Once again, that's 855-282-8255. Maybe we'll have a show. It's the advice show. We have all of the very intelligent, very wise, very mature people who can call in and give us advice, and everybody else when it comes to that. Donna, good morning to you. Thanks for jumping in on the show today. We love it when you guys come in, jump in, your advice and so forth. And of course, we like to share it. Hey, it's going to be a pretty nice weather day throughout the St. Louis area. Enjoy that. That's for sure. We don't get them all the time, especially when the winter temperatures hit. And I mean like 54, 55 today with some sun. The sun is up this morning. It'll be a beautiful day. Obviously, today's nice, but windy, gusty tomorrow, and the temperatures drop again, and then it gets downright cold again. And each day a little bit colder all throughout the week. But once again, I always say it could be worse. It could be a little worse. So enjoy the day. Speaking of things that are going on throughout the day in St. Louis, let us know if there's events. There is an event going down at Enterprise tonight. The Blues at 7:00 back in town. They haven't been in town in over a week. They get host the Boston Bruins tonight. What's on the line? Well, an opportunity to win their third straight game of the season. That's right, 3 straight. That is a huge deal. I am totally fine with Joel Hofer being in net tonight. Would love to see it, as a matter of fact. No need to push Bennington right now, although he was good 2 nights ago. Hofer's got the hot hand. Have no problem with it. No problem whatsoever. You've also got a situation where the Blues are trying to get back in contention for a playoff spot, and they're right there. The league is so congested. There's a lot of parity in the NHL where, you have the Blues also with an opportunity to get back to a 500 mark. They have 11 wins. It's an opportunity to go 12-12, get 12-12 and 7. They played 30 games and they're just under 500. So this is an opportunity tonight for the Blues to get back on track and do more of what we were hoping that they would do to start the season. How about the Monday night NFL game last night? Okay. The Chargers go on to win. They're 9-4. That was something the Chiefs did not want to see happen. That was one of the teams that the Chiefs were still playing. Vic, why are you still talking about the Chiefs? They're 6-7. Well, technically, they're not out of it yet. Technically. I think there's like a 15% chance they could still make the playoffs. I don't know. It's 6-7. So they beat the Eagles, the defending champs. What's going on with the Eagles? They're now at just 8-5. But the good thing for the Eagles is the division that the Eagles are playing in. Makes things a whole lot easier when you have a bad division. And of course, as we know, the Eagles have a bad division, a very bad division. So much so that the Eagles right now are 8-5, and the second place team is the Dallas Cowboys at 6-1. Okay. So that game last night was what it was. If you're gambling, case in point, I know it doesn't happen all the time, but I'm seeing it happen more and more. The betting public, it seems as if the betting public is over 70%, 71, 72% on a game, if most of the public is on it by that total, do those games hit or not? I'm seeing more of that go the opposite way. In some shocking game, especially with the Lions this year. It's happened 2 or 3 times with the Lions. Well, it happened again last night. The over-under on the game last night was 41.5 points. 72% of the public bet the over. 41 points were scored. So for it to win and 72% of the public win, they needed to have 42 points. 41 points were scored. It was 41.5. So Vegas picks up a big win when it came to the over-under again last night. My point in bringing the whole thing up is be careful. If there's any way to do research on where the public is going, go the opposite way. I know it sounds pretty Neanderthal, but it's like, don't follow everybody else. If Vegas has a chance to win that big, I would try, if at all possible, to get on track with that. 40, there you go, 41.5. And we saw what happened, of course, on Sunday. The Raiders did everything they could. The NFL gave a really weird penalty for 15 yards to put the Raiders in field goal range. A field goal, by the way, that wasn't going to help them win the game, but to kick a field goal just at the end of expiration, at the end of the game, to beat the spread. And that's exactly what they did. And most of the betting public were on the Broncos at that point in time. I think that's what had happened. And the field goal took the money away, and Vegas did it. That's why you have to be careful. Wagering has become super popular in the state of Missouri. You just have to be careful about what you're doing who you're wagering on and get as much information as possible. Oh, yeah. And by the way, don't mind losing the money that you're putting up. As we were told last week by Mike Palm, the VP of Circus Sports, you better look at it as if it's entertainment dollars going out the door. And if it works, great. If it doesn't, great. You had fun, right? How much fun have you had watching games that you've wagered on? I've had less fun than I've had more fun in watching because you're stressing.
Yeah.
It's natural to stress, right?
I had a lot of fun when I betted on the opening day for like NBA one time.
Okay.
But it was stressful when it was like getting kind of close and the guy didn't have 22 points when he needed 20.
And how did it end?
Oh, he got his 23.
Okay. And he did it at the end, huh?
Yeah.
Of course he did. Right at the end, go figure. That's what happened. So, yeah, have fun, but just understand what it is and some of those things that could happen. Yeah, it may not all be cookies and lemonade poolside. Speaking of which, you could bet on the Heisman Trophy winner this week or who's going to win. You've got your candidates right now. Mendoza from Indiana. Pavia from Vanderbilt. He's there as well. Does he have a shot? How about Julian Sayin from Ohio State, their quarterback, 3 quarterbacks, and St. Louis's own Jeremiah Love. I have to go back and look. When's the last time we had a St. Louisan as a finalist for the Heisman?
I do not know.
If there was a way to go back and check that out, I would be curious to find out who that was. No, I don't think he was. What I was thinking of
maybe Brad Smith.
Oh no.
That's what I got when looking up. Though. I don't know.
No, I was thinking
they're not a top tier.
No, I was thinking maybe the last great running back, Elliott from Ohio State. I mean, I don't know. But it's a big deal regardless. If somebody wanted to jump in and let us know, I wish I knew that off the top of my head. I just don't right now. But you've got Jeremiah Love. He has been invited. He's a finalist. He's from the St. Louis area. Obviously was an incredible football player at CBC. Literally, and with all due respect to his teammates, he had a lot of really good teammates at CBC. He did, but he put them on his back and won the state championship game. If you go back and look at the video and the stats, it was unbelievable what that kid did. Well, now he is a Heisman finalist. He gets to go to New York. Congrats to him. And he's got a legitimate outside shot at winning. Now, I think Mendoza is going to win it because he's got the Heisman winning game against number 1 Ohio State. And he's had a pretty damn good year. I think it's 33 touchdowns, 3 interceptions or something. Just phenomenal numbers there. Hasn't thrown for a ton of yardage. But I think that's your guy. But don't be surprised if Jeremiah Love could sneak in there at number 2. He is a projected first-round pick as well. He's got speed. He's got receiving ability. We'll see where he, can come. The NFL actually says that he needs to become a complete 3-down back. He's been compared to other top recent running backs and is considered an elite blue chip player with potential to go in the top half of the first round. Texans, Giants, Cowboys could be possible fits. Interesting. That could be interesting. But here's the other thing. I happen to think he's also the best all-around back when it comes to receiving and running in college football. Now, I also happen to believe that Ahmad Hardy from Mizzou is the best pure running back. I watched it week after week after week. Now, Ahmad Hardy's not somebody who's coming out of the backfield and catching passes like Jeremiah Love is, but he is getting those yards on the ground. Jeremiah is a pretty good receiver as well as a top-rated running back, and that's why he's in New York. So congrats to Jeremiah. Played at Jennings when he was growing up. Went to CBC, did the same thing, was a superstar there, and then he has only gotten better at Notre Dame. And we already know his career is done at Notre Dame because they're not playing in a bowl game. So Jeremiah is now he is setting his sights on the NFL to be a first-round draft pick. And of course, he's in New York this week. What a great career for him as well. After high school and college, storybook all the way down. Be interesting to see if you could see him with the Texans, the Giants, or the Cowboys. I don't know. That would be very interesting. See where they would go with that. Texans, Cowboys, Giants. I don't know. Anyway, that's what they have going on there. You've also got, from a local standpoint, Mizzou basketball getting back to action Thursday night against Alabama State. SLU basketball playing on Sunday. And then how about SLU soccer? We've been promoting them as well. They're in the Final Four, the soccer cup that they have going on. They'll play Thursday night against NC State with a chance to go play for the national title. It's become a big story. And, of course, we love to see the local teams get an opportunity, doing well, and, of course, moving forward. So congrats to SLU from that standpoint. Also, if you guys have any story ideas from that, anything to promote, something that we're missing from that standpoint, let us know. If you know anybody on the team from that standpoint, anything, everything, all St. Louis all the time, we cover those stories. By the way, we're here Monday through Friday, 6 to 8 a.m. Hot Take Central 2.0 follows us. Cardinals broadcaster Jim the Cat Hayes and Blues broadcaster Cam Jansen take you Monday through Friday. Today, on Tuesdays, you have a business show with Jennifer Bardot from 10 to 11. And then from 11 to 1, it is Charlie Tuna and the Posse. For a list of all of the programming that we have here at the network, you can go to luinfo.com because we are the Lou Information Station. We are live and on demand always at luinfo.com. You can also give us a call and check in if that does it for you as well. The phone number there to do that is 855-282-8255. Once again, that is 855-282-8255. I thought this was interesting, too. A lot of people talking about Eli Drinkwitz and his contract, the recently won. Some of the details are starting to be released. It's a 6-year deal worth over $60 million. He's getting paid over $10 million a year. It's a lot of money. It's a lot of money. But he does have something also in his contract that kickstarts an additional year to his contract. And some people are like, really? Wow, that's pretty impressive. So he actually signed, it's a 6-year, $64.5 million contract. And it's increased the pool to pay for the football staff by 33%. So they've got that much money now in football over there at Mizzou. So now 33% raises for his football staff from what they were. And that's just scratching the surface of the expected financial commitment from the school. That's interesting because yesterday, Missouri Athletic Director Laird Veach said that they're going to do whatever they need to do to make sure that he has a commitment for football because the money is there, apparently. They're making money. They're not going to be wasting money if they're not bringing money in from success and winning. What I also found interesting was no word yet on what Missouri's going to do with their special teams. Are they going to have a separate coach do it instead of having their tight ends coach double up as the tight ends coach and the special teams coach? When you put that much more money in, it should be a separate special teams coach, in my humble opinion. Right? Right. So Eli has a stipulation in his contract as well that allows him an additional year once he hits 8 wins. So he gets 8 wins, he gets an additional year on his contract. And believe it or not, the other thing is this. The 8-win threshold may seem low, but it's not. Kenny Dillingham, the head coach at Arizona State, 6 regular season wins, and then he gets a year added to his contract. Chris Kleiman, 8 regular season wins, he gets a year additional on his contract, or at least he did. Lane Kiffin, when he was at Ole Miss, and I think this switched over to LSU too, 7. You get 7 wins, you get an additional year onto your contract. So those are usually some of those contract headlines sometimes you see, but you don't hear about, or you don't hear about them when you see it. You're like, oh, that's pretty interesting. We'll see where that goes. But it is something to think about. And there's a lot of money. There's a lot of money that's being put forward when it comes to some of those places. I don't know, just so much money. So much money being put out there right now. How do you feel as a Missouri fan? Well, we'll see. It's keeping up with the Joneses, as you know, in the SEC with the NIL money and so forth. So we talk about those issues here. We keep some of those things going down. Of course, we love it when you guys jump in as well and get some of those conversations going with us. Like, subscribe, share the show. Let us know how things are going on. And we'll continue to follow that too. We say good morning to you, Donna. Good morning to you, Ben, jumping in on the chat line and so forth from there. So we've got those stories going on. Here's what we'll do. Right, could we take a break a little minute early? Is that cool?
Yeah, we can take a break.
I just want to, we'll come back because we have a lot of news headlines and stories under that same block. I didn't want to convolute it. So if people want to jump in, let us know. 855-282-8255. We are your Lou Information Station. We are live and on demand at louinfo.com. We'll take a break. We'll come back with some of these other stories going on in the city and anything else you guys want to do right after this. It's not just another useless Tuesday. It is an opportunity for you to have an awesome day. Welcome back into Arch City Now. Vic Faust, producer Rye, alongside. Of course, if you've joined the show before, you've heard me talk about a former co-anchor of mine used to call Tuesdays useless. I disagree. There's always the opportunity to do something great here. And boy, what a great weather day it should be today. 40 will feel like it's 60. 50 might feel like it's 70 after the weather that we've had. But regardless, we have those situations going on here today. Blues in action tonight. It'll be a good game there. Let's go Blues. Let's get a third game in a row. Feel good about that. Get that team back on track. Jake Neighbors back. I'm all for Hofer starting in net tonight. Let's do that too. Keep the positive thing going. We'd love to talk about the positive, especially with the Blues as they try to get back to the 500 mark for the first time as well. And those are things that can happen for us. Okay, I was picking that up. All right. So, yeah, stay positive. We'll see what we get with our Blues coming up from that standpoint as well. Coming up on some of the headlines that we were talking about as well. Hey, Jeremiah Love, CBC product. He was from Jennings, Notre Dame. He'll be a first-round draft pick in the NFL. He is a Heisman candidate. Go, Jay Love. A lot of love to Jeremiah on the season he's had at Notre Dame. Everything has worked out perfect for him outside of the fact that Notre Dame is not in the college football playoff and not playing in a bowl. Did you hear a bunch of people talking about that yesterday throughout the St. Louis area, Ryan? I'm just curious. Were people talking about Notre Dame at all that you run into?
Not really, but at the station, of course. But,
because it's here.
Nobody really was talking about Notre Dame like that.
Okay, good, because I ran it. Maybe it was just some of the people. It's just like I kept hearing Notre Dame. I was like, okay, I get it. I got it. We see what's going on. By the way, if you guys want to jump in on the show, you can do so 855-282-8255. Also, you can jump in on X, Facebook, and YouTube. If there's anybody you want to promote, anything from the St. Louis area, businesses, charities, whatever, that's what we're here for. We love to help out. We love to promote. And of course, you guys have an opportunity to do that with us here on this Tuesday, December 8th. We were already talking about it, what it's going to look like from a weather standpoint today when you get into the temperatures, getting into the 50s. So that'll be nice. But what I didn't tell you is tomorrow it gets a whole lot more colder. It'll be blustery. Temperatures will go down throughout the rest of the week. And then, of course, it'll make you appreciate what we have today. Heck, we're already at 35 this morning, which has been a lot warmer than what we've seen in recent times. 48 for the high tomorrow, a lot of windy. Thursday, 39. Friday, 42. Saturday, about 37. Sunday, then it makes another big drop down to 27. So the weekend looks cold and not a lot of sun for the rest of the week, unfortunately, as well. So covering those stories for you. Appreciate you guys being with us. Hey, we were talking about this too. If you haven't given blood in a while, now is a great time. Not only is it healthy for you to give blood in most cases, but people need it. And the Red Cross right now, St. Louis says that they are in desperate need. O negative and B negative. Once again, O negative and B negative blood is what they're looking for at this point in time. So if you can help out, please do. They said that in the winter months, people tend to donate less, which makes it a bad situation because people need the blood. There's never a need that stops. So they literally are talking about being a little bit desperate. And they say what's happened now in certain time frames, what can do too is you can be compensated for giving blood. Amazon gift cards are included as well. All you have to do to donate, you can use the app, which is pretty easy. It's the Red Cross Blood Donor app. And then you can also just go to redcrossblood.org, redcrossblood.org, or just call 1-800-RED CROSS. Doesn't get any easier than that. So they'll tell you all the reasons and the needs that they have for people to give blood and why they are low. But they are low right now. And we already told you O negative and B negative. Do you guys even know what your blood type is? Go check it out. Rye, put you on the spot. Do you know what your blood type is?
I think it's B. I don't know.
Okay, that's all right. Just don't say, hey, I've got C. No, there's no C.
I know it ain't C.
Yeah. Hey, guys, have you heard about this new place that's opening up in St. Louis? It opened up this last weekend. It's in Rock Hill. I'd like to find out about it. I haven't been there. It's called Lava Island. It's actually catering to kids and adults. It's a $5 million indoor playground. It opened this last weekend, 6 to 10 p.m. It's literally on Manchester Road in Kirkwood, and it's right in the market at McKnight Shopping Center. They're based out of Colorado, Aurora, Colorado. It's supposed to be a really cool facility, indoor, especially when we're talking winter months. Getting inside, they've grown their locations. And it's interesting. I'm just curious if anybody checked it out. We'll have to talk to somebody about that. Now, it costs $16 for an hour or $22 for a kid for a day. So it's $16 an hour or you pay $22 and they get a full day. The cost for an adult is $8 an hour or $11 for a day. So their normal operations now are 9 a.m. to 10 p.m. Friday and Saturday, and then 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. Sunday through Thursday. So, it's another new place indoors. Boy, I tell you this, Ryan. If you've had kids, you go to these. Have you seen the indoor jump parks and jump places?
Like Sky Zone and stuff?
The Sky Zone. You've gone to those. We've talked about those before. It's not the same when you take your kids. It's different. When you're younger, you can do it by yourself, I'm sure. But when you have your kids alongside, it becomes just a little bit different. By the way, the last time a massive Powerball was won, person in Spanish Lake won. That was back in September. That was near $2 billion Powerball. Well, the jackpot's going to be another billion on Wednesday. We'll see if anything can happen in the St. Louis area. That's because last night, nobody won the Powerball. One ticket had $1 million. So if you're buying, now you know what's happening when it comes to Wednesday. Some news with downtown St. Louis. We're always talking about how we want downtown to have a vision and be able to move forward. The senior vice president and chief of officer from Greater St. Louis is leaving, retiring, heading back to New Orleans, be closer to family. It was Kurt Weigel. He joined in September of 2022, and he's stepping down next month. So they put out a statement saying that Kurt informed us last week of his plan to return home to New Orleans to be closer to his family and establish a consulting firm. He has helped lay the groundwork for the revitalization of downtown St. Louis, and we are grateful for his service over the past 3 years. So his departure comes shortly after Greater St. Louis had already named Ron Kitchens as its new chief executive officer. So hopefully things in good hands as we look downtown, because we know there's a lot of work that needs to be done downtown, and you have to put a plan together. And of course, we've talked several times about where that is going to lie when it comes to the America Center, the Dome, when it comes to convention business, drawing people downtown in the midst of, several businesses leaving downtown. And one of the things that we're starting to see too, when it comes to downtown, is people are, you want to feel good about the things that are happening. And, you got to find a way, where there's a will, there's a way, and you want to be smart about what's happening. If you didn't see yet too, the Mayor's Ball, the annual Mayor's Ball, that'll be coming up. Well, they announced yesterday, the city of St. Louis did. The Mayor's Ball, by the way, it takes place February 13th this year. They raise a lot of money each year. Well, this year, they're going to be supporting, and I love the idea, it's victims from the tornado relief, because there's still so much money that needs to come into the St. Louis area for cleanup and tear down, rebuilding. It blows people's mind if you're not actually in those situations. So that's February 13th. It's going to benefit the City of St. Louis Tornado Response Fund. That's exactly what that is. Quote, the event is going to allow us to give something tangible back to the community. And we're grateful to the St. Louis community for supporting the ball. That coming from the president of the Mardi Gras Foundation, Mac Bradley. We hope everyone will get dressed in your Mardi Gras finest. Come back to City Hall on February 13th to join Mayor Spencer and help the city recover from last year's tornado. So, you know what they do. I mean, great cities have great traditions. And, the mayor said she's excited to continue the wonderful tradition. It really is cool. If you haven't been, it's cool. It's a really cool event downtown. It's a little different, off the beaten path, that's for sure. And by the way, they've been doing this since 2002. Proceeds from the St. Louis Mayor Ball have funded the Mardi Gras Foundation Community Improvement Grant. So lots of money. The Mayor's Ball has funded several projects, such as the Soulard security camera system and the historic lighting and fencing to date. The ball has also enabled 650,000 grants. That's a lot. So clearly doing a bunch, continuing to put a lot of the events together, making the week as good as it can possibly be. So it's a good time if you haven't had a chance to check it out. We try to cover those St. Louis stories, everything, the stories, all St. Louis all the time, whatever we can when it comes to news, entertainment, music, sports, whatever's happening. I love it when you guys get involved in the show as well. You can always listen to us, of course, on 590. You can also stream us live on X, Facebook, and YouTube, Monday through Friday, 6 to 8 a.m. on X, Facebook, and YouTube. Jump in. If you want to call, you can do that as well. 855-282-8255. Once again, it's 855-282-8255. We always talk about making the city better as possibly, but right now, St. Louis spending millions of dollars every year, lots of millions, tens of millions of dollars every year on vacant buildings. Okay. These are vacant buildings. Nobody's coming in to use them. Nobody's paying for them. They're not making any money. They're taking money. What does St. Louis do? How long does St. Louis continue to throw money at those situations? Case in point, the St. Louis Vacancy Collaborative said that the city has roughly 9,000 vacant properties, or at least they did last year. And guess what? St. Louis spent $21 million on issues related to the buildings, including $1.6 million directly to the fire department for taking care of issues regarding fire at vacant buildings. The other factors that weigh in spending this money, once again, $21 million a year on vacant buildings, is mowing, boarding the building, and or stabilizing it. So if you're taking $21 million, where else could that be going for all of these vacant buildings, just to keep them vacant or to keep them stable so they don't fall or cause any more damage? That's insane to me when you think about what could be done with that other money. And here's something else to think about right now. And I know it's not a positive thought, but last year, the total of vacant buildings went down 7%. That's good. But after the tornado, I promise you that total is going to be far up. It is going way up, because if all you have to do is take a drive over off Del Mar, take a drive through North St. Louis, as I have, those situations that are left behind are not good. They're not. And I wish it was a better answer. We'd love to stay positive about those things, but you got to notice the problems and then try to work from it. And that's why there's such a need of what's going on over there right now. So, I mean, according to the St. Louis Vacancy Collaborative as well, an estimated $310 million in unrealized wealth, $310 million in unrealized, untamed wealth right now is tied to how the vacant buildings drag down surrounding property values. That's the last thing you want to hear as a property owner. So what can be done? I don't know, but I can tell you this much. Just for a single alarm fire call, it's $3,000. Costs $3,000 to call the St. Louis Fire Department, even for a single fire alarm. There's got to be a better way to do that. There just has to be. It needs to be addressed. How do they do it? I don't know. What's the demolition price of knocking down vacant buildings? Is that an advantage? Is that an opportunity for people to look at? I don't know. But there's issues. They need to be looked at. They need to be fixed. And of course, we're looking at what's happening there. Former St. Louis Circuit Attorney Kim Gardner also has a hearing today with the Missouri Supreme Court. She could lose her law license. She had paid $5,000 of money that wasn't hers to pay a fine. That was an issue. Also, it was found out that she was taking nursing classes on city hours while she was the prosecutor. So that hearing will be held today on whether she can keep her law license or not. Not even sure she has a desire to use said law license, but it is a story that's out there right now. And of course, I guess she's trying to keep it or she wouldn't be fighting it. So there's that hearing that is happening. Of course, she was the city's top prosecutor from 2017 until 2023, when she, of course, was accused of violating federal and state law. And then I guess when she admitted to using public money to reimburse herself the $5,000 fine, that kind of kickstarted the things that were going on. And that brings us to where we are today when it comes to Kim Gardner. So talking to another attorney, friend of mine on that situation, he says he'll be surprised if she's allowed to keep the law license. So that was one person's opinion when it came to that whole situation. Of course, we'll be keeping you up to date on what happens there on our shows and other shows. And it's all about making St. Louis better, hoping that those situations go nicely. Well, here's a fun story too. A woman from O'Fallon, Illinois is realizing a dream. Her name's Faith Leonard. She opened a decor business. It's called Faith Haven Creative, and she just did it months ago. So what she thought would be really, really cool, she's helping bring this year's Christmas holiday theme to life. And it's kind of always been something that she loved. She said she remembers watching a Christmas special featuring former First Lady Nancy Reagan, married to Ronald Reagan, and hearing something that stayed with her, she said, for decades. She says, quote, she was talking about volunteers and how they rely on volunteers to bring the people's house together. So I just thought at that moment, that's what I want to do. I want to bring the White House together and be able to decorate the White House. Well, at the end of November, Leonard joined a small nationally selected group of volunteers to help design decor inside some of our country's most historic spaces, like the diplomatic reception room and even the West Wing, and all under the approval of the First Lady, Melania Trump. She said each team has a captain, and I asked my captain, did Melania have any challenges or changes to the room? And he said, no, it was perfect. And I sighed a huge relief. So she got to decorate one of the rooms in the West Wing. She said it was an honor. It wasn't just personal. It was a communal one. And she did it on her own time, said home is where the heart is. And of course, she has her business over in O'Fallon, Illinois. And she got to go decorate the White House. And once again, her name is Faith Leonard, and she has a business called Faith Haven Creative. And of course, we'd love to see people enjoying their time and donating the time that they have as well to get out and do the things that they're doing. So cool honor, especially if you love to get to the White House and you get a chance to go there. You ever been to DC yet? You ever been to DC and White House?
No, not yet.
If you get a chance, it's cool. I mean, it's kind of crazy, but it's cool because there's always protesters. It doesn't matter who's in office. There's always protesters out there. But to see our nation's capital, the White House, one of those situations, I would recommend it at one point in time. Want to take a field trip?
Yeah, let's go to DC.
Go to DC. We'll stand outside the gate, do the show. Oh, yeah. We'll have so much fun getting that done. Hey, but if you guys haven't seen yet, too, Art City Now is here Monday through Friday, 6 to 8 a.m. We love what we do, and we appreciate it. Let us know. Jump in. Come talk with us about interviews and what's happening. in your communities, your town. We rely on you guys to do that. Hot Take Central 2.0 is coming up next in a few minutes. That is Cam Jansen, the former Blue, and Jim the Cat Hayes, Cardinals broadcaster. Big Blues game tonight, too. Chance for them to win their third straight game. Always fun to get downtown to support the team. They do a really good job at the games. I mean, it's fun. See what they can get done from that standpoint as well. Also, we talked about them a little earlier. Want to promote and congrats to St. Louis U Soccer. We want to be a soccer city. We are a soccer city. The World Cup's coming as well. We've got St. Louis City SC, still a new program. How cool would it be for SLU to be able to get in and at least into the championship game? At least into the championship game, and who knows? But making the Final Four is an incredible accomplishment, especially when there wasn't, maybe on the team, but from a national perspective, there wasn't quite that expectation for that to happen, but it has. So congrats to them and everything that they have going on. Also, and what they could do, and of setting some sort of establishment for looking down the road. More great players coming, great coaching, and so forth. And yesterday, oh my gosh, I just got a text, Rye, and it's all under the 6-7 deal. The Chiefs are 6-7. The Dolphins are 6-7. I'm sure that doesn't do anything for you. No, it doesn't for me either. Thanks. Appreciate it. Somebody heard us talking about 6-7 the other day, and I was like, yeah, okay. 6-7. That's us. Okay, wonderful. Thank you for that. We got you. 6-7. Unbelievable. Talk about a waste. Yeah, talk about a waste of time for air. It's like, really? Is that what I'm getting sent now? 6-7 stuff? Again and again and again. Yeah, I think we can do without. Anyway, you guys, and don't forget, I wanted to remind you too, as it gets colder this week, check out heatupstlouis.org. You can catch them online, heatupstlouis.org. They do such an amazing job in the community at making sure that people have heat in the winter and cool or cold in the summer. You can check out heatupstlouis.org. They posted a story today how they were helping a working mom of 3 in North City and a working mom of 2 in South County. Got $1,000 to help with their utilities. They do so much good in the area, in the community. If you're ever looking for a way to help people, you can do it right there as well. Because so much can be done from that standpoint. And finally today, another positive shout out to the WashU women's soccer team. They won the national championship over the weekend. I didn't get to it yesterday. I had it in my notes. Congrats to the WashU soccer women. It's been a big year. SLU men, like we were just talking about, with a chance to play for the national title. And the women from WashU Division III national champs, they got it done. Big shout out to what they've been able to do. And while we're talking about that, please check out the St. Louis Hero Network. They've got their 12 bars charity event going on. stlouisheronetwork.org, stlouisheronetwork.org. Check them out. Make sure you can help out as much as you possibly can, or if you want to get involved in that from that standpoint. All right, guys, busy show today. Tons of topics. I know it was a heavy news day from sports to news headlines, but we do it all. Grateful that you were with us. Lots of shows coming up. Hot Take Central 2.0 we talked about. They're coming up next. Stay positive, and remember, if you have life advice for us, we'll take it. Ryan and I will both take it. As a team, we'll pass that along. This is your show, your community, and it's St. Louis. Today and all the time. All right, that does it for us today. Remember, you can always watch us on X, Facebook, and YouTube at Arch City Now. You can also find us at we are your Lou information station. We are live and on demand always at louinfo.com. So for producer Ryan, Vic Faust, stay positive. Have a great day. We will talk to you guys later.